guys and welcome. This is not something I've done before, both the baked oats and making a YouTube video. I'll be honest with you, it's been a year since I basically eat the same thing for breakfast and this ain't it. Tomorrow I'll show you my to-go breakfast and tell you why I'm making a YouTube video, but today I just want something indulgent. I've been working on a brownie recipe, but I haven't achieved the results that I want. It's been frustrating, especially because there are no plant-based bakeries anywhere near me, and if I don't make it, I can't have it. While my brownies are still coming out average, I decided to throw together a quick attempt to at least somewhat satisfy my craving. When I'm creating recipes, I like to just wing it, so I weigh my containers before and after preparing a dish. It allows me to focus all my attention on the taste and texture while I'm cooking. I'm cleaning the sides not just for aesthetic reasons, but also because it makes it easier to wash the tray after baking. Finishing touches with some chocolate chunks, and in the oven we go. I would say bake it in 180 degrees Celsius for 8 minutes. But you know how it is, each oven is different, so just check on your creations while you're baking and keep the texture that you're going for in mind and you'll be just fine. I made black tea and cut up some fruit to accompany my chocolatey breakfast. The baked oats turned out very nice and I did enjoy them, but I have to say this was a bit too sweet for a breakfast recipe for me and a bit too healthy tasting for a dessert recipe, so I'm not sure if this is a keeper in my books, but I will leave the recipe on the screen. When I make chocolate baked oats again, I'll try using more banana, darker chocolate, and pure cocoa powder. This meal is gonna make very little sense, but I'm working on 2 big videos at the moment and it's taking up all my time, so I just kind of want to make something really quick and easy. Also, I need to clean my fridge a little bit. So, kale is in the season and I'm eating a lot of it. It's delicious, it's a great source of nutrients, and also my neighbor's chickens absolutely love kale scraps. So every time I eat kale, I get to bring a bit of joy to them too. I've worked in restaurants for 7 years, both the front of the house, the back of the house. I went to wine school, cooking school, and opened a business delivering organic veggies to restaurants. But my journey with food hasn't always been easy. I'll take you for a walk tomorrow and tell you a bit more, but for now, the editing day 10-minute lunch is coming together. I have fried gnocchi, green beans, kale, and some fresh tomatoes and courgettes. You know, a bit of crunchy veggies, some starchy fried goodness, beans for a touch of protein. It's not a dish, but it's a very nice meal. I always keep some veggies in my freezer. The texture is different, yes, but man, the convenience. Having something picked at peak season just ready for you to use is just amazing. The seasoning that I'm adding is a garlic powder that my mom brought from Latvia. Even if it's the same variety, vegetables taste differently in different parts of the world. And as every Latvian, I believe we have some of the best garlic in the world. Obviously, that's a very subjective opinion, but I always have some Latvian garlic powder in my pantry. Stay tuned for a video on using uncoated carbon steel and stainless steel cookware. It's been a while since I said goodbye to my non-stick pans, and I haven't looked back ever since. I was thinking of maybe making some tahini sauce, but olive oil will be enough. Don't mind the construction site in the background. I'm building a climbing wall for my cat and also restoring a mirrored dresser from 1930s. So there's quite a bit of tools and materials back there. I'll show you a bit more from those projects in my future videos, but for now it's just a pile in the background. The dinner was another 10-minute meal. My partner is a chef and he rarely comes home before 11 p.m., but we still eat dinner together almost every night. Lately I've been working a lot and learning new skills, so basically I get off the computer when he comes home. On this night, we threw together couscous, pan-fried tofu, and a quick salad with olive oil and nutritional yeast. Hi guys and good morning. So I can't go another day without my favorite breakfast, and I'm just gonna go to the store and get some yogurt. So you know what? I just realized it's Sunday. There is a farmer's market and a vintage market. But first, the freaking breakfast. I can't wait for the moment when I'll be able to grow my own food. I keep imagining the day when instead of a grocery haul, I'll be showing you my harvest. I've started planting a food forest back at home in Latvia, but that is going to take years before it starts bearing fruit. For now, I'm turning my balcony into a mini garden and appreciating every time I get to buy organic produce. I think nowadays many people are dreaming of having a bit greener life, more connection with the nature. It's important to not lose hope and to work with what you have. My previous apartment had north-facing windows and no outdoor space. I found a few plants that could tolerate the shade, and honestly, I believe that having those plants around kept me sane during 2020. Even though, yes, my cat trashed most of them and there was soil everywhere, but it really somehow helped, you know? I don't know what I would do without this yogurt. I literally eat it every morning. I mean, I'll try to make this week more interesting and diverse. No, no, not in my plate, no. Why? This is a Greek-style soy yogurt. This yogurt really benefits from mixing well, because when you open the package at the beginning, it's kind of clunky and not so smooth. But after mixing well, this yogurt really gets a creamy and smooth texture. I'm using the same ground oat and seed mix that I used for my chocolate baked oats. And I'm adding some more chia seeds. If you've ever used chia seeds, you know they kind of gel up a little bit, and that makes the texture really pleasant and more fun. But mostly the reason I'm adding chia seeds is for their nutritional value, all the fatty acids and all good things that are in them. I've always enjoyed having fruit with my breakfast, and I used to make a lot of smoothies. But lately, this one bowl breakfast has taken over. By the time I'm done with my toppings, the chia seeds have plumped up and my breakfast is ready to go. This morning, I didn't even make myself a drink because I didn't want to miss the market. Since this is my first YouTube video, I thought I should give you some context as to how I chose this path and where I'm coming from. Long story short, I'm a 90s kid from Latvia. I used to be a professional ballet dancer, but then life happened, and not surprisingly, I dove right into the food industry. I wasn't doing well, to say the least, and when shit really hit the fan, I went completely off-grid and moved to live in the Himalayas. At that point, I had already gone to a cooking school and worked in a restaurant kitchen, so I decided to volunteer as a cook in a mountain school in rural Nepal. I was cooking on fire, carrying water, growing food from seed. I didn't realize it back then, but the off-grid life showed me that dance is just one of my languages and it doesn't define me. When I came back to Europe, I started feeling connected to the land and nature in a way that reminded me of my childhood and all the summers I spent gardening with my mom and grandma. It took me many years and many professions till things started clicking. I was researching marketing strategies for my business, and I listened to a speech by Simon Sinek where he explains the power of why. Basically, no one cares how and what, it's the why that drives things forward. This advice helped me to grow my organic vegetable delivery business, and it also helped me to make the decision to take it down. When I delivered veggies to restaurants, I did it for the same reason I created choreographies. I wanted to tell stories that could help heal the world.
My why hasn't changed, but I've realized that I'm free to play with the how and whats. YouTube is the perfect medium for a playful mind, and I'm very excited to become a part of this community. I've always enjoyed sharing recipes and cooking for people, and I'm just hoping that this platform will help me amplify my love and love language.
I got some bread while I was out. I ate a slice and snacked on some sesame crisps. These sesame bars are one of my absolute favorite snacks since childhood, and I'm stoked that they're still around. I also opened a kombucha before I summoned my motivation to do the dishes. If you're making a kombucha at home, I would definitely suggest trying this combination for flavors because the hibiscus flower brings this nice fruity acidity, and then you have the warm spicy mouth feel from the timur pepper. So this is a really spot on great combination for a cocktail or a home-brewed kombucha. I love to watch YouTube videos and listen to podcasts while I do the dishes. At the moment, my favorite podcasts are Call Her Daddy by Alexandra Cooper and The Diary of a CEO by Stephen Bartlett. The more I diversify the content that I watch, the more I learn about myself and the world. When it comes to YouTube, I have a long list of creators I love and that have inspired me. On this day, I was watching a video by Hitomi Mochizuki. Her content has helped me to cultivate emotional intelligence and self-love. I was feeling insecure about filming this video, so to comfort myself, I watched one of her videos where she talks about her meals. I find it easier to let go of insecurities when I can just go and indulge in content that offers so much love and understanding, and knowing how much simple things coming from other creators have changed my life. I'm no longer afraid to offer simplicity to other people, and I don't feel the urge to complicate things. As you saw, I roasted a few handfuls of seeds. I'm not going to eat them all today, but it's just nice to have a bit left over to sprinkle on some salads or other meals through the week. I used to not like tofu, but it turned out I just hadn't tasted a good one. My tofu journey started during 2020 when we made some tofu at home. Soon after that, I tasted one from Latvia's first artisanal tofu brand, and I realized that there is a whole tofu world out there that I want to explore. Now I pretty much eat it every week. I sometimes blanch or freeze my tofu to play with the water content and texture, but I don't press it. I'm also not a big fan of marinating my tofu. I enjoy the flavor of soybeans, and I find many marinades burn if you fry or grill your tofu. To marry the flavors together, a little sauce goes a long way. I made a tahini dressing with some lemon juice, garlic, salt, pepper, and a splash of water. I had never eaten tofu together with tahini, and I discovered that it's not really my cup of tea, but it was still a good meal, and I ate everything slowly while editing. My favorite tofu recipes come from Japanese, Chinese, Korean, and other Asian cuisines. Though there are a lot of days like this one when I just pan fry my tofu and serve it with whatever I have in my fridge. Another day, another bowl of yogurt and fruit. On this day, I wanted to get as much work done as I could because my partner had the next 2 days off. I like cooking soups on days when I want to save time in the kitchen. I'm making enough soup for both lunch and dinner, and I'll just add some sides in the evening. I'm frying some button mushrooms in a bit of olive oil, adding salt, red onion, cumin, and chili flakes. When the spices have bloomed, and the onion is caramelized, I'm adding tomato puree and spices that are ground and don't need as much heat. This time I'm going for ginger, turmeric, Hungarian paprika powder, and black pepper. Be careful, don't burn your spices, but you want the tomatoes to caramelize a little bit. I don't think a week goes by without me eating lentils in one form or another. I've always liked them, but life in Nepal took my love for lentils to the next level. I had some vegetable broth that needed to be used, but this soup would be just as flavorful without the broth. I'm adding water, a touch more salt, and that's pretty much it. I enjoyed the soup with some bread, hummus, and a bit of a fresh salad, but I didn't film myself. I really just jumped straight back into work after eating. For dinner, I was craving a bit of carbs, so I decided to reach for my potatoes. I absolutely love potatoes. It's such a versatile ingredient. There are a ton of potato recipes that I want to share with you guys, but this week, the name of the game is simple. I am just cutting my potatoes into nice wedges and seasoning them with olive oil, some salt, pepper, and a smoked paprika powder. Each oven is different and the cooking time will vary. My oven is very basic and it doesn't have a ventilator, so when I'm cooking veggies, I usually go for 180 degrees Celsius and then just keep an eye on whatever it is that I'm cooking. I like to set a couple timers so I don't burn anything, but I rarely set just one timer estimating the whole cooking time. One thing is figuring out your oven, but then you also have to remember that the shape that you choose to cut your veggies and the variety that you pick plays a big role. Some potato varieties will roast better than others, some are more suitable for boiling. Our taste buds are very different, and while your local supermarket might offer cooking suggestions on the packaging, the truth is there are no rules, no one recipe. If you want to up your potato game, start experimenting and taking note of your favorite varieties and your favorite ways to prepare them. Ooh, that's nice. The soup is slightly different every time, but it's just such comfort food. It's amazing. I'm so glad I picked this recipe up in Nepal. Happens. I'll try again. It's day 4 and I can't believe that this is the first coffee I'm having with you guys. I don't know, something clicked in my head after I left the restaurant industry. I crave coffee way less than I used to. For lunch, I decided to whip up some mushroom kale toasts, and I had my mind set on making mayo. The only oil I had at home, though, was olive oil, and I really didn't want to go to the store. So I ended up making something slightly weird. I loved it, but then again, I love olive oil. Someone who doesn't like the flavor of olives would probably not enjoy this as much as I did. I didn't make it thick enough because I didn't want to use all of my olive oil. It ended up being a perfect condiment for my toasts, and later in the week I enjoyed it as a creamy salad dressing. Just a nice example of how sometimes when things turn out different than you expected, they can still be great things. I used chickpea water, aka aquafaba, for my dressing and had a jar of chickpeas opened. I like to use up everything that is open first so that it doesn't go bad in the fridge. I took some leftover tomato sauce and the chickpeas to create a quick side dish for my toasts. I'm spreading salted coconut butter and adding the fried kale and mushroom mixture, as well as the olive oil dressing and some Violife cheddar slices. When it comes to plant-based cheese alternatives, I actually prefer the spreadable ones, like cashew crema or basically anything that is creamy and spoonable, because those actually melt, I'd say, even better than the slices and blocks do, because the consistency is just, I mean, you can taste the starch and it's a bit off versus when you take a creamy plant-based cheese alternative, especially if you ferment it, you can really get close to the flavor that ticks all the right boxes. I'm snacking on some cereal before dinner, and I guess today is the day when I just spill everything. My partner made dinner. We had mashed potatoes, store-bought soy patties, and a salad. He mixed fresh lettuce with zucchini, red cabbage, and the mayo-esque dressing that I made earlier. The next morning, nothing new. You already know the drill. I'm having the same breakfast. This is our day off, so we went for a walk. It's nice to see nature waking up in the spring. Even if it's just for a few minutes, being in nature charges my batteries in so many ways.
It's so cute.
When we got home, I didn't want to spend too long time cooking, so I just looked in the fridge and checked on the leftovers that we had. And we had some potatoes left from yesterday, so I decided to make a gravy with the soy chunks. And I'm frying up some mushrooms in olive oil as well as some red onion. This time I fried everything separately because I had quite a lot of onion and I didn't want it to steam. I really wanted to get the caramelization. I kind of had to wait until the soy chunks were done to combine the ingredients because I only had one pot available and that was the pot that I was using for soy chunks. So I combined my onions and mushrooms in the pot and I'm just gonna fry the soy chunks until they are golden brown. I'm adding some vegetable broth to the mushrooms and onions, as well as preparing a bit of cornstarch slurry to thicken the gravy later. I seasoned the soy chunks with some smoked paprika, salt, and pepper. When they were golden brown, I combined everything together with the broth. I seasoned the gravy with some soy sauce and garlic powder. I don't say this enough, but taste everything you make. To thicken it, I used the cornstarch slurry that I made earlier, and soon after adding the cornstarch, I took it off the heat. I plated some leftover mash with a bit of leftover soy patty from yesterday. We made the same salad that we had yesterday night, and it's just a perfect touch of freshness with the otherwise quite hearty foods. It's very glazy. We watched Futurama while eating, and then later we just decided to keep watching cartoons. So I made myself a cup of hot chocolate with the help of my cat, of course, like always. Sometimes I do go the extra mile and melt real chocolate, but today was not the day. I just wanted a quick afternoon pick-me-up. So I just mixed up some cocoa powder with soy milk. I also went for another snack before dinner. I made myself some cereal with soy milk. And the dinner was super simple. Couscous with the gravy. We did not have it in us to cook the dinner. And the next morning, you know the drill again. I'm having some yogurt with a fruit. The apple was mushy all the way through, so I ended up feeding it to the chickens. Okay guys, let's go get some bread because I'm hungry and I'm feeling lazy today. I'm thinking, Ooh, if they have the fougasse with olives, it's like this olive bread that is more like olives with bread instead of bread with olives, if you know what I mean. For lunch, I mixed the leftover chickpeas in tomato sauce with some more canned chickpeas that I had in the fridge. Then I found a couple endives in the crisper that needed to be used, and I also cut up some white button mushrooms. It's a bit of a mishmash of everything, but I don't mind. When the mushrooms were golden brown, I fried the endives in a bit of olive oil and added veggie broth that I then reduced and flavored with some garlic powder, soy sauce, sesame oil, and brown sugar. The endives came out very nice. There was no bitterness, just sticky goodness. I assembled all the elements in my plate and enjoyed the meal with some olive fougasse on the side. You know, sometimes I struggle keeping boundaries with work. When I'm passionate about what I do, I pour all my time and energy into that thing. And yes, I often eat while working, and honestly, it doesn't bother me, though there are a couple other things surrounding self-care that I have learned to stick to. Most importantly, I try to move daily. There is always a yoga mat rolled out on my floor. Sometimes I only have enough energy to flop on the floor, roll around, and rest my body for a couple minutes. But you know what? That counts. Even a small movement can help change my day for the better. When I walked away from my career in ballet, I struggled and I was in a very dark place. At one point, I stopped moving for fun. I solely used my body to get around. I will just say I never want to feel like that ever again in my life. Movement is a big part of my existence. It provides a release mechanism, it nourishes my body and soul. Self-care might mean a completely different thing to you, so try not to compare yourself to others. Instead, listen to yourself and seek out the things that help you thrive. For dinner, neither of us wanted to cook, so we reached for the store-bought options. Boiled gnocchi and a soy patty. Also, my partner brought home a loaf of rye sourdough that he baked earlier at work. So cool, baby. Really smells like home. In the morning, I decided to do something about the leftover baguette that I had. To soy milk, I'm adding chickpea flour, brown sugar, cinnamon, and ground flax seeds. Some vanilla would also be very nice in this, but I didn't have any at home. There are multiple variations across many cultures of recipes that revive stale bread. This can definitely be made more indulgent, but today I'm going for a very basic plant-based recipe. And yes, of course, I didn't skip the yogurt. I used it as a topping along with some oranges and grapefruits. I realize now that I could have zested the oranges before peeling them and made a nice sugar rub for the toasts. But since I'm working on a video about composting, I eagerly collect my compostables and my morning brain didn't have enough time to come up with that idea while I was cooking. It took me a while to edit this, and at the time of filming it was still quite cold outside, so there were very few fruits and veggies in the season. Now summer is around the corner and my meals will definitely brighten up with some fresh, juicy and colorful plants. Lunch today was pretty simple, like many other meals I had this week. But I guess that's the whole point. I really wanted to share a couple of my to-go quick meals because they have made my life so much easier. If you take one thing from this video, take the idea to make a lentil soup. Don't shy away from spices and try experimenting to discover what you like. For example, I recently found out how much I love mixing Hungarian paprika with my spices from Nepal, and I have been obsessed with a combination ever since. So yeah, I'm kind of making the same soup that you saw earlier in the week, but this time I'll be adding potatoes. The fact that you are here, still watching, means a lot to me. I battled imposter syndrome all the way through this process of creating my very first YouTube video. Every time I look back at the edits that I've made, I feel like I could make the video better and that I should change something. It's hard to know when to stop and say enough is enough. I know perfectionism kills creativity, but it's a hard pill to swallow for me because I used it as a defense mechanism for such a long time. So here I am, recording this audio and I'm about to hit publish. I'm scared, yeah, but I've learned that doing things that make butterflies dance in my stomach often leads to an amazing outcome. I don't know where my YouTube journey is going to take me, but what I do know is that I really hope to talk to you in my future videos. Take care, bye!